All right, good. So yes, I am taking questions tonight. So just remember, thanks, Kim. Right on. I just got your email too, Kim. So muchas gracias. If you really want to get, well, what happened? Oh, okay. Well, one sec. If some folks get frustrated when I don't answer their questions right away. So if you want to get ahead, super chat me so I can make that sweet YouTube money. I will answer super chats first as they come. But anyway, so I mean, I know there's some people say, "Hey, answer my question. I answer it 20 times, or I asked it 20 times." Sometimes I just ramble. Yeah, I think ramble. Right. So right on. Thanks, Tom, for being here. Much obliged. All right. So Mary says, what's the difference between Wellington and life strategy? So let's take a gander, Mary. Mary, quite contrary. You never heard that. Can you all hear me, by the way? I was a minute late because I had to get my hot tea. And I don't like being late, actually. I like to be on time, and I don't even like being a minute late. In fact, any of you all who hire me, if you I usually log in after you do, because it for some reason the audio, when you log in first, the audio kicks in better. It's weird. When I log in first, there's always an issue with audio. So anyway, anyone who uses the Zoom meeting for us to log in, I usually log in after you, because I'm literally, man, it takes like 5 minutes to figure out the audio if I log in first. On your end, it's weird, man. I don't understand. All right, let's go to we're gonna go to Schwab, because I just love Schwab, dude. Schwab and TD Ameritrade are now one. A couple of y'all had sent me thinking that Schwab had bought out Right Capital. That is incorrect. I guess Schwab is just more deeply integrated with Right Capital, but Schwab does not own Right Capital, if that makes sense. All right, so we're gonna go to research. All right, here we go. All right, cool. And we're gonna hit Mary, quite contrary's thing here right quick. So let's go down here. I know I gotta. Here, let me turn on. My light went out today. I haven't fixed it yet because I'm kind of lazy. Let me go turn this one on. Hold on just a second. All right. That probably doesn't change it much, but a little bit. It is dark. It's dark as I'm dark-hearted. Dark-hearted. All right. Thanks, girl. All right, so let's go. Oh, I didn't show you my screen. All right, so let's go to screen. Share screen. Chrome tab. Client Schwab Center. Mike's here now, so let us all begin. All right, so Mary, what we're gonna do? Wait, what she asked? Life strategy. Okay, good. So we're gonna start with Vanguard Life Strategy. And okay, nothing came up. All right, so let's go to Vanguard Life Strategy Moderate right there. VSMGX. Man, I need to go back comparing my funds over 10. When I first started this channel, probably August of 2019, I did like a comparison of all these funds going back years. Two things I want to talk about today. I was reading an article and I want to share it with you guys. Commodities could be good. I can't remember, but we'll find the article and read that. And I want to talk about I-bonds. I'm not that familiar with I-bonds. And I tell you, some guy emailed me and said, damn, you can't buy much, but so, okay, actually, before we do anything, we got to start with the most pressing business of the day. Hold on a second. So we got to say a prayer. My man, Peter, his daughter or his daughter-in-law got hold on a second. No, I'm not going to read you the thing, but if I could find it, I can't find his email. Anyway, his daughter-in-law got like a sudden case of serious cancer, and I can't remember her name. I just remember his name is Peter. Oh, man. Anyway, so dear Lord, dear Heavenly Father, we pray for Peter's daughter-in-law, and I forgot her name, but obviously God knows it. You know it, Lord. Can you just, man, a young lady suddenly struck with cancer, seems serious, and I know it's just got to take this guy and his wife by storm having to deal with that. Just out of the blue. Ugh. Oh, man. And we just pray for her and her family, too. Imagine being the dad or the husband of her, just saying, and he can't do anything about it. There's nothing he can do. And his feeling of just complete, utterly uselessness. And just praying for her, too. Her in particular. Fight the good fight. And knowing that, I don't even know what to say. Just we're praying for her, God. And all the people out there who are suffering from whatever their illness is, being internal, external, mental, physical. Lots of suffering going on in this world. Lots of suffering in this world. And we just pray. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. It's sad, man, when you it's just sad. Yeah, all right, so let's go back. All right, so let's go to Schwab Center. All right, here we go. So here's the Life Strategy Growth Fund. And I'm not sure we can compare it to Wellington, but we'll check it out. So what's going to happen here, Mary, is we're going to go to holdings. All right, and you're going to see it's more diversified. All right, so I'm using the Life Strategy Growth Fund. And what you're going to find is that it has the total stock index, the total bond index, the total international stock index, the total international bond index, and then the world bond. I'm not sure. Well, that's weird. So you got total international bond and world bond. I don't know what that consists of, but so it's diversified amongst foreign and domestic stocks and bonds, if that makes sense. So domestic stocks are 37%. Foreign, I can't pronounce it. Foreign stocks are 24%. Domestic bonds are 27%. Foreign bonds are about 11%. So it's about 2-to-1 domestic to international. I hope that makes sense. All right. So that is the life strategy. Now, if we go to Wellington, it's going to be all USA. Take that, Canada. USA in your face. Take that, Obama. No, I can't say take that, Fauci. And so we're going to show you Wellington is all US. We're going to holdings. Expense ratio on the total internet on the life strategy is a little bit less expensive, but they're pretty doggone close. Wellington expense ratio is 24 basis points. That's 0.24%. Remember, 1 basis point, my friend, is 1/100th of a percent. So if you have 100 basis points, that equals 1%. 50 basis points is 1/2 of 1%, or just simply 1/2 of 1%. So 24 basis points is 0.24%. And we'll see Wellington is right here. We have 1,100 different holdings right there. Allocation 50 to 70% equity, and that'd be the other would be fixed income bonds. So Wellington is all domestic. Does it give us a breakdown of gives us the holdings, but does it tell us a stock to bond mix here? So portfolio holds a lot of holdings, man. Of course, the life strategy got pretty much everything, if that makes sense. I'm sure it gives us the ratio of stock to bond here someplace. I'm not going to bore everybody looking for it. But anyway, so that's the difference. So Wellington has nothing but domestic. And then, oh, wait, maybe I need portfolio. And then the life strategy have international. And the life strategy consists of the index funds that Vanguard has. Wellington has individual holdings, if that makes sense. All right, so here's our asset. There we go. So 67% stock, 30% bonds, and 2% cash, essentially. And I think, well, they do have a little bit. Okay. I mean, 86. Well, that's more actually international. I would have thought. 3% UK, 3% in France, 2% Switzerland, 1% in Taiwan. Did you hear friggin' John Cena today? What an ass clown. He started speaking in Mandarin and apologizing to his Chinese masters that, for heaven's sake, saying Taiwan's a country. What a freaking clown, man. What a freaking clown. I just, who? Anyway, I hope that answers your question. I would, if I had my preference, I'd go Wellington. Be perfect honest with you. Hey, my wife liked it. Look at Charlotte Scanlon. She liked it. One person on Facebook, and I imagine it's my wife. All right. What's the holdup? Oh boy, man. Dale is off to a keen start today. What's the holdup? Wow. What's the better retirement calculator, Schwab or FireCalc? The Schwab one I used yesterday, FireCalc smokes that. I'm not all that. Is there, off the top of my head, I can't recall the Schwab retirement calculator, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm sure there's one on here. I mean, let's see. Let's see if we can't find one. But I mean, I love FireCalc. I love it. Let's go to. All right, let's see what we got for Schwabe. Tools. Retirement. Well, I don't want to sit here. We're going to look that up. So we'll see what we come up with there. If someone wants to look at the Schwab retirement stuff calculator, I think that'd be good, man. But I imagine it's good. But I like the FireCalc one. Of course, I'm comfortable. Yeah, I've been fighting this cold for a week now. I actually feel pretty good. I haven't worked out in a week. I feel pretty good, but I just got crap in my my nostrils here, and it's not going away. I've been snotting up, man. And they call me Snotty Josh. All right. All right. Your room is dark. All right. So here comes D Moon. Have been studying fixed index annuities recently. Wonder about the validity of an individual doing as a personal, what life insurance do for the FIA customers. I'm not sure what you're saying here. So I've been studying fixed index annuities. I'm wondering about the viability. Oops, let me stop the screen. Wonder about the viability of an individual doing it as a personal investment savings strategy, what the life insurance companies do for the FIA. All right, well, one thing jumps out at me there, D, is that life insurance companies are able to pool their risk, and that's why insurance products actually work. And with annuities, the pool the risk leads to something called the mortality credits. And what that simply means is the people who die early subsidize the people who die later. So you have a life expectancy. Well, that life expectancy says 50% of the people will be dead by this time, if that makes sense. All right, so that's what your life expectancy is. So 50% of the people died before that life expectancy. 50% of the people died after that life expectancy. The 50% of the people who did, they paid more into the insurance program than they got out, i.e. the people who take, the people don't even take Social Security and die at 65. They get no benefit from the taxes they pay. The people don't take it until 70 and they die at 72. They don't get the benefit other than 2 years of all the taxes they paid. The people take it at 62 and die at 64, same thing. So that's the difference between you doing it. You're self-insuring essentially versus an insurance company. That's the benefit the insurance companies can in pooling the risk. Why it makes it awful hard to mimic an insurance company. That's for sure. Have I heard that Schwab will no longer allow over-the-counter trading? I haven't heard that. I don't know. I remember at USA at one point they said if the stock was under $1 or even under $5, I can't remember, but if it's a stock that traded like under, I don't know, maybe it's $5 for like 6 months time, they wouldn't allow you to buy and sell it at USA, which seemed weird to me. I said, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how the actual mechanics of, using their platform to buy and sell a share. I don't know how that works, but I said, why does USA care? It was weird, but Have I run the numbers between Right Capital and Schwab using the same numbers? That'd be interesting. I haven't, and I'm pretty comfortable with Schwab's. I mean, think about it. I don't know what they're using for their standard deviation, but I do know they're using a similar average rate of return than I like. In terms of what I like. So, but I don't know what they're using for the standard deviation. We definitely need to know that to analyze what Schwab is doing relative to Right Capital. See, that's the thing. Remember, man, I can't stress this enough. Let me just draw this out a little bit. So if you have all right, so this is how a Monte Carlo works. It's actually really simple once you get the grasp of it. So this is an old-fashioned bell curve, all right, and a bell curve. Now, look, everyone and their mom gets, they get really caught up in Monte Carlos for whatever reason. I get it, but what else are you going to do? I mean, I think it's pretty spot on relative to using historical numbers to project future returns in terms of potential. There's nothing else to do. I mean, because it's kind of like, this is why I tell people why I don't believe that you should necessarily get long-term care insurance. I mean, I have it, but I think, at the end of the day, I don't think it's that big of a deal, because the likelihood of you needing a significant expenditure of long-term care isn't very high. It's quite low. So how do you insure against a not a probable event? Well, that's that's truly what insurance is, I guess. Is that the insurance against a catastrophic event. I get that. That's not likely to happen, i.e., it's not likely for a healthy old 50-year-old Josh to die, which is why life insurance is cheap. But that's not quite long-term care. Long-term care is, the older you get, the more likely something is to happen, which means it becomes more expensive. So either going to pay more expense as you age, you get more and more close to the probability of something to happen, in which case as you age, the less is able to afford it, if that makes sense. Or you pay a hell of a lot on the front end because you're not likely to have it to basically subsidize your future, Josh. None of those are a good option to me. Part two of this, though, the likelihood of this happening isn't very high. And then part three, the likelihood of it being a catastrophic event is not very high either. So it's kind of like, long-term care insurance is truly insurance in the real term. You're buying insurance to shield you from a catastrophic, unlikely event happening, if that makes sense. The problem with that is it costs so much money for an unlikely catastrophic event that doesn't likely to happen. It's just like, it's not worth the insurance cost, if that makes sense, by and large, because you can still what's called self-insure. You assume the risk. And self-insure means, look, if the median out-of-pocket expenditure for someone who needs long-term care, that's for someone who needs long-term care, not the whole population, but just the people who need long-term care, is $50,000. Well, you can easily finance. You can easily afford that. When I say easily, you can, instead of paying $2,500 a year for 30 years for something that you're probably not going to use, you take that, save that $2,500 a year and just put it in a side account. And that way, if you don't use it, you still have it. So there's other ways to pay for that other than buying an insurance. I hope that makes sense. The point being with a Monte Carlo, where everyone and their mom gets wrapped around, is they say these fat tails. Right? No one predicted COVID except for Fauci. Fauci is the only one who predicted COVID, and Bill Gates. So other than Bill Gates and Fauci, no one predicted COVID. So this is a fat tail occurrence that is not, because we couldn't predict it, we couldn't plan for it in a typical Monte Carlo. But Monte Carlo never says that it's going to cover 100% of the probability. Monte Carlo says within 3 standard deviations, and I'm going to talk about exactly what that means, is we will cover 99.8% of events. 99.8 of what? So we're going to cover all this. All right, so we're going to cover 99.8% from here all the way to here. Now we're still going to have 0.1% uncovered here and 0.1% uncovered there. But within 99.8% certainty, again, we're never going to be fully certain, using past numbers, past data sets. in terms of what we're doing Monte Carlo for in our bell curve, we are pretty comfortable that what we're projecting would be your probable outcomes. We can't guarantee. We can't say it's a certainty. We don't know because we just don't know. But we're pretty comfortable that with past data sets extrapolating and projecting it forward, we think these are the probabilities. All right. And there's no guarantee. There's no 100%. There's nothing. And anyone who says that is a friggin' fool, man. And I used to run Naviplan software at USAA. It said exactly that. It said, you have 100% certainty you will not run out of money. I said, that's freaking stupid, man. You'd never say that. And there's other things, that Naviplan stuff, that drove me crazy. But anyway, so within this 99.8% certainty based on previous numbers, knowing that there's always these fat tails that could, we could get struck by freaking UFOs that are coming. How come when it comes to UFOs, we are always a stupid species and the aliens are always smarter? Why aren't we ever smarter? It's weird. Anyway, so within 99.8% of the time, we have a 5% average rate of return is what our expectations are. We expect our portfolio to give us 5% rate of return with a 15% standard deviation, which means with a 99.8% of the time, we would have negative 30% on any given year and positive 40%. I hope y'all can see this. All right. So basically, essentially what you're doing is you're taking this, timesing it by 3, and adding it to this for the upside and subtracting it by that for the downside. Pretty simple stuff. I mean, pretty simple stuff once you understand how it works. That's it. So you're saying, okay, so our standard deviation, 15%, our average rate of return is 5%. On any given year, we could be down 30% or we could be up 40%. Now, with the Monte Carlo, what's really supposed to do is it's supposed to be random, i.e., you could be down 30% consecutive times. The likelihood of that happening is not high because it's completely random sequence of events. I mean, so the drawback about Monte Carlo is that it doesn't rely on the last year's performance. And the problem with that is last year's performance has some dictation on next year's performance. We know that, all right, because human beings ultimately control the market, not a computer thing. And the market is driven by trends and momentum, for sure. I don't think anyone would debate that. It's driven by trends and momentum until the trend and momentum changes. Right? So we don't know when that changes, but it does. And that's, again, it's just the fish in a herd mentality. Woo, 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 woo. And that's exactly what the markets are. Monte Carlo doesn't assume that, which is a drawback. But it's the best we got, man. So anyway, so that's one thing with you got to understand about what Carl was saying about what Schwab was using. I don't know what they're using for standard deviations. I don't know. I'm sure it's in their, in their literature, you can find what they're using for standard deviations. But what happens if you're using different standard deviations and using different projected rate of returns, your stuff is going to be different than mine. There's no other way around that. And that's what kind of annoys me with some of these other planning software. They're using historical rates of return and historical standard deviations. I don't like using historical rates of return because I think it's overly optimistic. I do not think we're going to get the last 100 years experience over the next 100 years. I don't think so. Remember, we were an emerging market until 1950s. You know what I'm saying? We were an emerging market. From 1950s to almost basically now, until China kind of said we're going to go capitalist or fascist. China's a fascist state, but until China started going, say it's glorifying or glorious to be rich, as the previous dictator said. Drawing a blank what his name was. Yeah, I can't remember his name. Anyway, we were the only game in town. The Europe was totally relying on us. Japan, I get that. It's good. Japan probably, but still, otherwise USA or bust. And still kind of is to this day. I'm not all that. China's not going to supplant us anytime soon, other than with their military taking over our insane woke military. I'm thinking that woke military stuff is a false flag. I think it's nothing except to demoralize people who serve their military with pride, and they want them to leave, and they want proudful people not to join the military. I truly believe that. I think it's part of a total psychological operation where they want woke people who do their bidding to serve the military, and they want to get people like me out. Those crazy right wingers out there, they vote for Trump, and they like their guns, and they like their short hair, and they like to, they're proud of their service to America. And I truly believe the military is doing that as a way to kind of throw it in the face of the Americans who take pride in the military. I don't think it's at all to try to recruit wokesters. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so at all, because wokesters aren't going in. I think it's to try to drive the patriots out. It's interesting. I'll never forget this. About 10 years ago, I was reading something about in the UK in London. Some pastor was preaching there about the negatives of gay marriage. I'll never forget this. It was nuts. And a cop, I guess a bobby, came up to him and said, "You can't preach that. It's hate speech. Hate speech." He's like, It's my belief, my religious freedom." He goes, "No, not here. It's hate speech." He goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Look," and this cop was gay, was a gay woman. I think it was a gay woman, maybe a gay man. He goes, "You had your chance. Now we're in charge." And I always remember that. I said, so these wokesters don't want tolerance. They want revenge. And I'll never forget reading that. And it's like the cops were in charge by the wokesters. And the wokesters, they had their mission to enact revenge. And I can't remember if this guy was arrested or not. I think he ultimately was arrested because I'm freedom of speech. And he said, "No, we're in charge now, and things have changed." I'll never forget that. And then the irony of it all was the East Asians, the grooming gangs. I love how they call them East Asians from Pakistan. The wokesters don't know what to do with a certain group that follows a certain Abrahamic religion. So it's interesting that not keen on their lifestyles either, if that makes sense. So it's funny. So the grooming gang stuff never got looked at because the wokesters say, we don't know what to do. And the irony of it all is that certain group of people is not too fond on the wokesters' a certain preference, if that makes sense. And it's going to be interesting. So anyway, so we have these young British girls being literally raped and sold as sex slaves under the eyes of the authorities of the British government, and no one did a damn thing because they didn't want to be called racist. But remember, Me Too, and the whole thing was done. That's why Tommy Robinson went to jail, by the way, for reporting on that. It's so the idea is once the wokesters take over, you think, well, the wokesters aren't going to join en masse the military. They're already there. Don't you see? They're already there. And they're in charge. And they're going to turn on you. And they're going to turn on me. Doesn't mean they're going to be freaking Tiananmen Square crap. Doesn't mean that. But they're already there. And and these guys play for keeps. And they're angry. And they're bitter. They have no morality in terms of an eternal creator, and they want blood because they feel, for some reason, that their time has come. I'm telling you, man, there's some frightening crap out there. It is. Now, you can get all freaking, oh my goodness, and or you can say, okay. Recognizing that there's a good probability of something not going right with our powers that be. What do? Vote harder. We're going to vote harder. Or you just have to separate yourself from that entirely. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean separate yourself is, I hate to say John Galt, because you can't really go John Galt, but you're going to have to say, okay, I'm going to remove myself from that society, and I'm not going to be of their earth. I'll let them, manage their urban areas, but I'm going to be in my whatever outer suburban or even rural area, and I'm going to live off a lot less income and luxury. I'm just in amenities. I'm telling you, man, you can see this a mile away, and it's only a matter of time before they say, "You want electricity? You want water? Let's see your Vax card." I mean, who knows? Who knows? A year ago, you all would have said that's nuts, Josh, and now it's actually. Look at what's going on in Ireland. Look what's going on in the Netherlands. I mean, these are not, crazy tin pot dictator countries. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they are now, but so the point being is what you've come to expect from the military, from the police, from the authorities, is going to turn on you. And we saw that at the beginning of the last year with the where the cops are going to people. I remember there's a lady in a trailer park in Minnesota or something like that, and her daughter was playing with a next door neighbor, and a neighbor narked on them that their daughters were playing together. They weren't social distancing and they weren't in masks. And the cops came and it just like totally belittled this woman for living in a trailer park. It was nuts. And it seemed like the beginning of a reawakening of maybe don't be so pro-authority. Maybe be a little bit more and say, yeah, I'm not backing the boys in blue just because they wear a badge. I'll back the right ones, but I'm not backing the bad ones. And the bad ones are people who turn on their fellow citizens to call them names just because they live in a trailer. Especially when they're being narked on by their neighbor for their daughters in a play date outside, riding big wheels without masks on. And then the Black Lives Matter thing erupted, and that set my side back, which is let's start not looking at the police as all good all the time. Let's start not looking at the military as all good all the time. And then that just took a hit because then the Black Lives Matter fools and Antifa, they started marching, and people said, I need the police, my only hope, which I get. But man. But now we're kind of back and we're saying, what's going on there, people? And now we see what's going on in the Capitol, the January 6th insurrection, knowing full well that was a false flag that was created by the left, knowing full well, and yet people are going to jail. We got a guy here in my town who we know who's down, a kid, and I don't know what's happened with him, but it's just the whole thing, man. So they're setting you up, and it's a false flag to get you demoralized so you capitulate. And I think what we need to do en masse is to capitulate and say, okay, we're just not playing the game. We're not going to be part of it. Now, that will mean you probably take a hit to your standard of living in some regard. I'm telling you right now, it's only a matter of time for you not to be able to fly without a vax card, which I find insane. I was talking to my wife about that today. Say, how does that make any sense? The airline industry is operating on razor thin margins as it is. I mean, it's not like they're profitable as it is. And yet, if they're going to mandate vaccines, which is coming, I'm telling you, you can see that a mile away because they're serving Big Daddy Joe Biden's interests. This is fascism in full. Biden says private corporations dictate. Biden dictates, private corporations execute. He wants a vax or else, and he says if you want your friggin' government money, you're going to have to mandate vaccines. 40% of the population says I'm not getting a vaccine. And so the airlines, which are already operating on razor thin margins, are now going to limit their appeal to 60% of the population. I don't get, how's that? It's crazy to me. What's happening? It's going to come. It's going to be fun to see. And so you better, get your mind right because you're going to get frustrated, but, recognize it's coming. It's coming a whole lot faster than I would have ever thought. And I don't think the country's going to be here. I absolutely do. And there's still going to be lots of good people here, lots of good places to go, lots of good places to live. I just do think that the more I think about this, that there is going to be a splitting in terms of not necessarily geography, some regard, but mostly in terms of mindset. And you don't want to be with these people, man. I'm telling you, you want to be far away from the nuts. If I was out, I went to the outlet malls yesterday, get some new shoes, some new Sperry's. Freaking 90 degrees and humid, and people still out there, not a good amount, more than I would have thought, with their masks on. And I remember I was sitting there. I was sitting there. There's this young girl, probably 22 years old. These two people were at an ATM. No, it wasn't the ATM. They're at the what's it called? The map of looking for where the stores were. And they were sitting there with their masks on, these two people, and this young lady, 22-year-old, literally was sitting 6 feet away with her mask on, just stern as a statue. And I'm sitting there. I was just outside. I just, how, man, you're not going to be able to communicate with these people. These people are insane. It's insanity. I'm like, lady, it's insane. And what are you going to do? You're going to say, hey, Let me tell you about the studies. Look, she's so far gone, you can't save stupid. And as such, you can't live with these people. And sadly, there's a bunch of people just like that. All right. So let's keep reading. All right. The Schwab retirement planner you reviewed was great. Strange, but showed no success rate difference between 62 or 67 for me. Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, is it the best? No, but I liked it. I thought it was good. The drawback, Google sucks, is that as we're on Google platform, is that I don't know what his expenditures were. I have a sneaky suspicion it was continual going up. Where that's what I like about FireCalc. Expenditures go down. You can make expenditures go down. So yeah, keep that. All right. Andrew says, I got a question on Social Security. Say I got my Social Security. Early as disability. That's actually a statement, Andrew. That's not a question. A question is with a question mark at the end. That's what a question is. And you didn't ask that. You made a statement. Say I got my Social Security as disability. I'm being facetious. D says, I understand that fixed index annuities is bonds plus covered calls on the stocks. I'm not sure, man. I bonds in the same account. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. Here comes Andrew. All right. Here we go. All right. Yeah. Question. All right. So Andrew is asking a question. I was goofing on you, man. Don't take it too seriously. I'm a goofster. If a husband became disabled at 55 and started Social Security disability, lives, say, 10 years, how's the wife's later spousal benefit calculated at 65? Well, she won't get a spousal benefit because you're dead. So she will get either the grade of her own benefit or her survivor benefit, and her survivor benefit will be whatever your benefit was. I hope that makes sense. So Mary, yeah, Vanguard. Man, yeah. Vanguard's big on international diversification. I mean, in terms of modern portfolio theory, MPT, you want to be diversified. Yes, I 100% accept that. I 100% don't have any international stocks at all. I'm living with the U.S., baby, U.S. or bust. And look, I mean, there's international, and this is a challenge for me as a guy who likes to be contrarian. International has underperformed. I haven't really fallen much in the last year, but as of up until the last year, 2020, international had greatly underperformed the S&P 500. And so if you're going to buy low and sell high, right now is probably a good time to. I tell you what, let's look. Let's look at international. We're going to look at. Oops, hold on a second. You guys can't see this. I haven't paid much mind. I just don't, which is good. You shouldn't pay much mind. I was talking to a guy today. It's like so. Basically, what you're saying is Wellington, G Fund, a little bit of cash, and never look back. I said exactly, 100%. Wellington, G Fund, cash, and never look back. There's literally nothing more to do in my regard. All right, so we have VSMGX. All right, yeah, Life Strategy Monitor. So let's see. We're just going to look at. All right. They'll probably ban me for singing that song. All right. So let's look at foreign VGS. All right. Let's look at this guy. All right. So over the last 5 years, this has gone from 10 to 16,000. Can I add S&P 500 in here? Let's see if we can't chart this against the S&P 500. I'm sure there's a way to do this. I don't know if I want that. Let's see if we can just do VFI index. What made me do? Can I compare them to two or what? No, shoot. All right, I was hoping to compare. I don't know how to compare them on here. So let's just look at performance. All right, so the last 10 years, or what did I say, 5 years, the total stock international went from 10,000 to 16,000. Let's see what this guy has done. We go to 5. Did I do 5 years or 10 years? This guy's gone to 22,000. Yeah, so I'm sure there's a way to compare these here. I just don't know how to do it. I gotta get better at my using this. But anyway, so you can see the S&P 500 has smoked the international for the last 5 years. So the idea would be, at the end of the day, you want to, if you're going to kind of take some of your gains off the table and buy things that have underperformed. I don't know. I probably should, to be honest with you. I just don't trust those international markets. I don't trust them, man. I just, there's no other way around it. I just don't trust them. I don't like the way they do business. They're not capitalistic. We aren't as much. We aren't either, I grant you, but we're certainly more so than they are. At least, I mean, who was I talking to that is? There's people think about going to Spain. Like, if you make more than, like, I think he said 70,000 euros a year in Spain, your tax rate's like 55% or something like that. And the whole thing's nuts. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, well, if you're going to punish people for making income, I don't know. I can't get my head around the idea that international markets are going to outperform domestic markets when international markets are run by a lot of wokesters and a lot of fascists. I mean, big government telling corporations what to do. Now, with that said, it's almost like trading like a public utility. It eliminates competition, right? It does eliminate competition because you're creating a moat around these companies, man. And as such, the IKEAs of the world, the Nokias of the world, those things, they're not really subject to competition like we are in the United States. And as such, they can make money serving a poor product for years and years and years. So there's something to be said about that, but hard to see them growing. But that's just my own preference. All right. Oops, man. We have allies in international countries. Do we? C and S. Okay, I must have missed something here. All right. All right, here we go. Sweet. All right, the wrestler. What? How many income streams do you recommend for retirees? It's amazing. Yeah, I don't know, Bruce, allergies. I never had allergies before, but every spring I get this. So I'm not sure if it's allergies or not. I think it's psychosomatic, basically. I think I tell myself, oh, spring's here, time to get my spring cold. So I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, it's probably allergies, to be honest with you. The pollen. Remember when the pollen is deep in the South? Remember last year, 2 years ago? There's a black mayor in South Carolina who went out to her car and said her car was spray painted by white supremacists. Turns out she's an idiot because her car had pollen that had fallen on it. It wasn't spray painted, it was just pollen. And of course, there's this need to make white men the bogeymen out there. When they have this need for this. It's everybody. White men evil. And if we can't find actual instances of white men evil, we're going to make them up time and again. I'm saying, when are we going to have hate crimes against people who keep having these hate crime hoaxes against white guys? It's nuts. Yeah, right here. So right on. So Vinyl, good point. The banker that he was. If you pull with a bunch of guys and didn't use an insurance company, you would cut the insurance company out 100%. In fact, Jews do that. The Muslims do that. I mean, all kinds of these group preferences do that all the time. I don't know if they still do, but certainly they've done that for years. USA did that. How do you think USAA started? When you PCS in the 1920s, your auto insurance would not, they wouldn't give you auto insurance because they said we couldn't track you down to send you a bill. As such, USA got together, they pooled the resources to start their own self-insurance company. That's crazy. Anyone using Acorns or Robinhood? I had an email from Robinhood, I think, wanting to advertise on my YouTube channel. I said, niet. Don't like Robinhood. What they did to that GameStop crap, that's nuts, man. Jill says, I-bonds. Oh, yes. Oh, good. So right on. So Jill said she between 2002 2009 she bought 10K of I-bonds, $50 every 2 weeks. Right now she's averaging 4% interest. No plans to cash them in until they mature. When do they mature, Jill? When do they mature? And like, what happens from a tax perspective? Do you pay the tax as you pay them? I don't know. Literally, I don't know the first thing. I think you can only have 10,000 per Social Security number, though. I think that's my understanding per year. 10,000 per Social Security. So if you want to comment more down below, I'd like to hear that. I don't know the first thing, but I think it's a great. I like it. 4% guaranteed by the feds, and they don't. Let's see, and I don't know the taxation of that. Yeah, Schwab is apparently living in the building. I think that's. Oh, there you go. Schwab is limiting the ability of smaller fish to buy OTC stocks. If you're a larger account, you can. Yeah. All right, so here's so if someone has 500,000 at 59.5, can they retire and do a small withdrawal until Social Security at 62, or wait to use Social Security at 67, debt free, including mortgage by then? Well, of course you can do that. I mean, the answer to your question is yes, you can. Yeah, right on, Kim. I forgot the question Denise asked, but right on, Marie. Hope you took advantage of the Schwab link and got some free scratch from those guys. All right. All right. Denise says, I was wondering if there's a standard school of income that 2 income streams are better than 1, but was there an ideal number of income sources? Oh, man. I see. Okay, I see what she's saying. So I thought it's like I see all these Bitcoin people, and I mean these bots that say I have. They say you should. I don't know. I got my course on selling Amazon books or something like that because income streams are the way to go. I have 7 different income streams. Well, I think it's good. It's just it's. I thought she was kind of implying that. So Eric says, I got 300K AAA life insurance term policy, but we are debt free, have money in Roth. I'm thinking dumping it. Unless a term. I imagine it's probably cheap. You probably bought it when you were young and Sprite before you start smoking cools. I'd probably leave it. I can't imagine it's costing much money, Eric. All right, so what percent of not gonna should we start to feel? Yeah, all right. Good question, Monty, West Virginia. It depends on how they're using this. Look, when I'm running my plans in right capital, I say, look, if I get you 75%, I'm comfortable because I know there's this thing called common sense that you're going to tighten your belt when the markets go chaotic. I mean, no one's going to take their $18,000 trip to Italy if the markets are down 50%. It's just not going to happen, man. You know what I'm saying? But how do you do that in a Monte Carlo? Well, you can't because we're saying these are what we're trying to accomplish. Can we accomplish it with these inputs? On top of that, I also know that spending goes down as you age. We don't know this factually. I mean, for you specifically, but there's enough evidence, overwhelming evidence to say most people's spending goes down as they age. We just know that to be true. Will it happen for my man Monty from West Virginia? I don't know. Is it a safe assumption? I think so. So unless we're doing modeling where the spending already is dropping down, 75% is fine. But again, I don't know what they're using for expenditures, and I don't know what they're using for standard deviation. So you have to, if expenditures are going up each and every year with inflation, it's a flawed program to begin with. If what they're using for standard deviations and rates of return, if we don't know that, then we just have to dive in and figure that out. All right. By not taking Social Security at 62, is money left on the table. When I do a raw math, the amount you gain by waiting till 67, when I do raw math, the amount you gain by waiting till 67 compared to the 5 years. Yeah, the break even is usually about 78 years old, Annie. So, I mean, if you're going to live beyond 78, the idea would be you should delay. That's pretty much, I don't think anyone would argue that. The arguments would be you can invest it, you can take it and invest it better than Social Security. I'm not convinced in that argument at all. I'm not. The other argument would be, what's the other one? I talked to a guy yesterday whose wife's benefit was like $300 on her own, and his benefit is $3,000 on his own. So for him, so his wife is going to get a pittance until he files, in which time she'll get her spousal benefit. So in this case, it made sense for him to file at 62 to open the window up for the wife to get her spousal benefit. So he's going to take it early. It will be reduced. And she was going to take it. I think she's 2 years older. I had 2 cases of this just back to back. I think one wife was 5 years older, so she was going to get 100% of the spousal benefit because she was going to be her full retirement age when he was 62. The other wife was a year older, so she was going to take it at 63 when he took it at 62, and they'd both get reduced benefits. So he'd have a reduced retirement benefit. She would have a reduced spousal benefit, but because her spousal benefit is like $1,200 more than her own benefit, for her to take her spousal benefit earlier and his benefit earlier, even though it's reduced on the front end of the retirement, was actually was worthwhile. So there are situations where things change. I had another guy I was dealing with last week. His wife is in the TRS, the Texas retirement system, and they don't pay into Social Security. All right. So what happens with her, is that if he were to die, her benefit, her survivor benefit would be kaboomed, would be negligible, if anything, because the GPO, government pension offset, if that makes sense. So basically, for him waiting to take Social Security, the only reason he would wait to take Social Security would be that he thinks Social Security deferral is better than him taking it early because of the 7 to 8% delayed earnings credit than what he could get by taking the money earlier. And we said that's probably, she had a pension. Point being was it wasn't enough of a benefit at all to make that worthwhile. So he's going to take it earlier as well, because he's not leaving his wife in a bind, because she's basically not going to get any of his Social Security benefit because GPO, government pension offset. And so as such, it's like, man, you might as well take it at 62 and just enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And he rightly agreed, actually. He said, hey, he thought I was going to try to convince him to take it at 67. I said, I don't see any. I mean, the numbers all came out pretty much the same. I said, I don't see any big benefit there. So remember, the reason I'm taking it later, the primary reason, is for my beautiful. All right, so I'm the primary earner, have been. She's making, she's working right now, but she's not making huge amounts of money. She works as a part-time teller at a bank. What else did she do? Basically shoveled crap, not really, but you know what I'm saying? Just, kind of low-end, not high-paid jobs. So her Social Security benefit is going to be not very high. So, but I'm 4 years older, and I'm a man, and she's going to survive me. You know what I'm saying? That's all there is to it by a number of years. So when I go to my greater rewards, I want to leave her the biggest benefit I possibly can, which means I'm going to delay until I'm 70 years old. That way she will step into my benefits with the full delayed earnings credits when I'm 70. Now we'll rethink that, because going back to spousal versus her own benefit, when I'm 67 is my full retirement age, will her spousal benefits be more than her benefits? We'll have to dive into that at a point, and I don't want to get too deep in that here. But my initial thought is for me to delay so Charlotte can get my full benefit when she kills me off and marries the pool boy. and that won't even be enough of a reward for what she's put up with this guy. And as such, that's my initial thought. But I'm not taking at 62, because I take at 62, she'll be screwed upon my demise. Now, remember, I'm also inclined to do a reverse mortgage as well. And a lot of people say, oh, reverse mortgages are scams. They're not scams. They're a legitimate product. It's kind of like firearms are evil. No, firearms are not evil. Firearms are an inanimate object. It has no value at all in terms of your morality. A firearm is neither evil nor is good. A firearm can be used well by human beings, or it can be used poorly by human beings. The firearm itself is neither good nor bad. Is this good or bad? Well, it's good if I'm drinking hot tea. It's bad if I crack you over the head with it. But it has nothing to do with this. It's kind of like people say, you make me mad. No, I don't make you mad. You make yourself mad, allowing me to get under your skin. But that's on you, not on me. I mean, me, Josh, doesn't do anything to you. You do something to yourself. Trust me. Many, many years I've had to learn this the hard way. Trust me. And a lot of going to AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, a lot of just reading, a lot of getting my nose into this and recognizing. And I still, to this day, I still strive to remember my flaws at, expecting people to make me feel this way, as opposed to just recognizing I make myself feel this way. So when I say this, I'm not saying, fine, look at me, I got it all figured out. Hell no. If you knew outside with this dark mind of mine, you'd say, dude, stay. You would never be here. You say, stay away from that clown. Man, that's dark thoughts going on there. Bad thoughts, which is why seems like Jesus said, anyone who looks at a woman with lust has committed adultery. So basically what he's saying is everyone's got dark matter in there, literally dark matter, but the chemical reactions, everyone's got bad things going on in their brains there. So you're never perfect, but you say, God, I need you, because, man, there's a lot of bad crap happening there with a bad boy Satan in there trying to make me mad. Anyway, point being, I don't know what the point being was. I forgot now, but there you go. That's the Josh live stream. Where do I go? I don't know. It's like one of my kids was saying, remember the movie Up with Mr. Fredrickson and his dog? Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. I don't even know what I was talking about. I just remember talking about hitting myself over the head with this or drinking hot tea from it. I forgot. All right, so here we go. P. Annie says, if you have another pension, don't need it, wouldn't investing in mutual fund at 10% yield more than waiting until 67? Ugh, that's it looks like my eyelash. It looks like my wife cut it. Did she cut my eyelash? Ooh, that's Charlotte. And this is a perpetual question, man. The idea that if I invest my money, I can do it better than Social Security. I challenge that, but maybe I'm pessimistic. Yeah, right on, Michael. Hey, James. Hey, Harry. Right? There's no tolerance like intolerance. I don't tolerate. You're saying there's no tolerance like intolerance, man. There we go. Michael's thinking about retiring from the DOD after that. See, that's what I'm talking about. He's thinking about getting out of the DOD after 33 years because, look, I can already see getting a little bit of chunk there because I haven't worked out in a week. And I'm still eating like I still work out. Oh, yeah. Not work out in a week just makes your belly feel flabby, makes your freaking triceps feel flabby. And I can see it looks like a little bit of space going on down here. And I don't like that. Anyway, that's the point. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get Michael out of there. All right. Debbie says, ooh. All right. Man, Debbie. All right. I'm assuming we're going to start from the premise that Debbie doesn't have any money. If she doesn't have any money, all right, she got 10 to 15 years and she's dollar cost averaging, I just go hell's bells on the total stock index and just be done with it. Now, another point of this, what if Debbie, look, if you're trying to play catch up, don't try to get too aggressive. And I don't think the total stock market index, dollar cost averaging into it, over 10 to 15 years of retirement before retirement is too aggressive. Just FYI, I don't think that. I just think if you're dollar cost averaging and you're starting with nothing, that was the only way to do it. Don't buy any bonds. Don't buy any CDs. Just dollar cost average and the total stock index and be done. Watch your fees, man. Fees will eat you alive. The question that comes to my mind is, and I'm telling you, it's knocking on the door of this ugly, ugly brain of mine. What if, I tell you, man, I can't shake this. And as such, I keep going back to my man, Harry, with what he did. All right. So let's go right here. All right. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So I want to go to, all right, sweet. S&P 500, 1926. All right. So here's the S&P 500. I mean, and this is 1929. 1930, 1931, and 1932. So, I mean, we are down. I mean, we are down a boatload. So let's just take our trusty calculator. We got $100,000 in the S&P 500. We're down 34%. We're down another 36%. We're down another 46%. And now we're down another 11.6%. So we're down to $20,000 right here. So we're down 80%. That's exactly where I was going with this. 80%. That's without any distributions, by the way. All right. And I mean, so we haven't had anything like that since. Not anything close. We just haven't. I mean, now if you net that of inflation, it's not quite as bad because you can see with inflation, it's not quite as bad. So let's just say net of inflation, we're down to $30,000. All right, so we were down 57% from 2007 October to 2009 March, and that's the S&P 500. That's horrible. That's bad. All right, so those are two things that are quite bad. September 2000, 2001, and 2, the S&P 500 was down 9, 11, and 22% respectively. So roughly 40 odd percent, which is bad. That's not. I mean, that's close to a crash. And that's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. 73 and 74 is down pretty good too, but not anything like this. Not anywhere near that, if that makes sense. And then again, in 2000, 2001, and 2, if you had value stocks, you only got hit 1 year, man. All right, so then we want to go. Remember, this is the Great Depression. Depression means deflation, if that makes sense. All right. So depression, we had the markets falling, everything falling off, which meant deflation as well. The thing that rescued you in deflation was bonds and cash. All right. So now let's go, instead of the S&P 500, let's go to the Nikkei in Japan. And I remember Japan was a thriving stock market. Everyone and their mom wanted to emulate Japan. And we're going to go to, we're going to go to 19, I think it's 1978. We're going to go to, what is it? There we go. All right. My name is Luca. I see you on the second floor. You're so ugly because my song is so stupid. All right, so you see Japan, huge returns. Sound like anything you know? Huge returns, but they had high inflation, so I grant you that. High inflation, huge returns. All right. Oh, well, inflation started to come under wraps here, similar to us, right? Huge returns. Wait, that's not the Nikkei. No, that's small cap. Yeah, I thought I had the Nikkei. Oh, yeah, right here. Oh, okay, one sec. Ah. I want to get rid of the small cap. I want this to be the Nikkei so I can show it. Bear with me just a second. All right, here we go. That's our inflation. Okay, scratch that. So scratch the inflation data. Anyway, this is us. So here's the Japan 23.9. I mean, look at this. Look, does that look familiar to anybody? Look at that. 78 to 89. Look at that. All right. Then kablink, kablunk, kablunk. Kablunk, kablink. I mean, look at that. Talk about freaking blood. I mean, you're doomed. That's Japan, man. It's not like that's no longer a third world freaking country of people living in huts. So the question being is that likely to happen? I mean, I don't know. But what if it did happen in the midst of your retirement or pretty close to it, if that makes sense? So what's a way to avoid that? Well, and I've been thinking about this a lot because the one thing we don't want to be doing is sitting there saying, oh, we should have saw it. Because we should have saw what exactly? Because everyone's going to say, well, the inflation. I said, well, I mean, I don't believe that. I think the inflation is a short-term phenomenon. I think it's going to go away. I truly do. But what if I'm wrong? All right, inflation kicks in. Do stocks automatically rise with inflation? No. There's no correlation between inflation and stock market performance. None. We just look at 73 and 74. Markets got crunched. Look at the 70s. Markets got crunched in the U.S. stock market, and that was our biggest event of inflation in the history of the United States of America capital market. So you cannot say inflation, stocks are a hedge against inflation. It's just not. I mean, the 70s would have proven that. It actually proved the opposite. You can't say deflation is bad for stocks because what we see is in the times we've had deflation in the early part of the capital markets, the 1870s, basically on up until the Great Depression, the stock market did great under deflation. It got killed in the Depression, but deflation and depression didn't lead to the stock market getting killed because if it did, it would have got killed in the 1870s all the way up to 1910s. It didn't happen. So inflation is stocks are neither a hedge against inflation or a bad investment during deflation. We just don't know. So there's no correlation there that means it. I'm just sorry to say. It's just you can't correlate the two. People do all the time. Let's say the earnings on stocks go up as inflation kicks in. Well, again, look at the 70s. There's no correlation. So what if we're sitting on a powder keg, but it's like 4 to 5 years out and we just don't know it, and you're about to retire 3 to 4 years from now? What do? You see what I'm saying? Now, let me share you what my man Harry, and he won't mind me sharing this. He annuitized everything. Now, he had retired. Now, I did a video on this a while back, probably over a year ago. So he annuitized everything to take a fixed income stream, guaranteed, that's well more than he needed to pay the bills. Thus, he removed himself from market risk. Now, I don't know what Harry is doing with his excess cash because he's not sending it to me. Send me money, Harry, for 7 sakes. Send me money. I'm joking. I'm just goofing. Because Harry being here is sending me money because I'm getting the YouTube algorithm or the YouTube money. But what he's doing, the way I would do this, I say, okay, I need, I don't know, $3,000 a year in income. So that'd be $5,000 a month in income. I annuitize my portfolio at $7,000. I have to pay some taxes on that. So let's just say I net $6,000. I need $5,000. I have an extra $1,000 a month. Then you can dollar cost average that extra $1,000 a month into the markets, if that makes sense. So you got all your bills covered. You got no market risk at all because you're out of the market. But you have excess money. Just throw it into a VTI on a monthly basis every month. Dude, I'm doing that when I hit that place. I mean, assuming I have enough income to pay my bills. Wait, who's doing that? Dude, I was goofing on you, man. Well, $5 ain't enough, Harry. I need more. Oh, man. I hope you please understand I'm goofing on you. But anyway, but I appreciate it. But I think about this. I'm like, what if we're sitting on a powder keg we just don't know? And we're going to look back and say, how did we not know that? What could we have done to protect our assets? And without going all into cash, because I don't know. I mean, the cash, but then again, you're like, well, what if I'm still working? What if I'm 5 years out of retirement? You see what I'm saying? What if I'm 5 years out of retirement and I say I can't annuitize it because I'm making money? I don't want to pay taxes. I am 50. I'm thinking about this. I got money in an IRA, which I wish I did not have. I mean, I've got to have the money, but man, I've been thinking about this a lot. It's like, man, I'd love to pull that sucker out and buy some real estate outways, if that makes sense, for where Charlotte and I can, retire to, if that makes sense. But I can't, because I'll get hammered from income tax and being under the age of 59 and a half. I could annuitize it, and the 72T doesn't get the job done, and I could annuitize it, but it's just not worth it. So like, this is where having deferred money is very handcuffish, because you're like, all my, and that's why I'm building up my M1 account, because I need to have non-deferred assets, because I don't have enough in my M1 account to do that. But I'm like sitting there thinking, man, if the market tanks a la the Great Depression, but even, 2007 and 9, and I'm putting money into it, but I'm thinking about a soon-to-be retiree. The market tanks, I'm still putting money into it, but I'm looking at getting out money of the market here in just a few short years. That's a problem, man. I do not want to sound like I'm freaking fearful of the market. I just don't know. But the reality is we've had such a run. The economy, I don't care what anybody says, it's nuts, man. I just did a video today on new home sales. The median price is $352 on new home sales. The median price of already built sales, what I'm living in, is $312. Crazy. That's a median. The average price on new home sales is like $450 or something like that. Where the hell is this money coming from? If I'm staying in my house to live, I'm going to die, and I'm getting a reverse mortgage line of credit right now. That's for doggone sure. Lock that puppy in a day. And that way you can draw against that should the market flounder or get crashed. So, and I was talking to Kim today, as a matter of fact. I was like, my concern isn't just a run-of-the-mill crash, because she said, what is a market? No, she didn't say crash. She said, what's a down market? And in true terms, a 10% decline is a correction. And those happen all the time. A 10% decline is nothing. I'm just telling you, wow. A 20% decline is a bear market. Yeah, that's a little bit more painful. It's a bear market. We just had one, last year. That was quick, and that was like a blink of an eye, which is odd. Neither of those are market crashes. Those happen. Bear markets happen probably 3 times a decade. Corrections happen probably every year, frankly. A lot of times you don't even know. But a true bear market probably happens every 2 or 3 times a decade. A 30% decline, that gets once every probably 10, probably every 5.5, probably once every 7 years or so. But a true decline, like real true, like the Great Depression in Japan. Yeah, I would say the 2007 through 2009, that's once every 20 years or so. And we didn't really have one. Well, we had 73, 74, 2001 and 2. Again, if you're in value stocks, that didn't hit you. Maybe once every 30 years. But we don't have that much track record in terms of to say statistically what is the likelihood of said event happening, because said event has only happened a few times. And we've only had capital markets really truly, we've only had capital markets where we're all participating in until basically ERISA came around. Employment Retirement Income Security Act, which allowed us for 401ks. Really, we haven't had market participation for the vast majority of Americans literally only since my life. ERISA came in 74, 73, 74. And the 401k really just started in the 80s. All right, so we don't have that much track record. And of those, that time it started, we had the 80s and 90s were booming. The aughts were zero, and the teens were booming. So 3 of those 4 decades have been nuts. But also 3 of the 4 decades were when the baby boomers were putting serious money in there. And now we're on the other side of that. And now we got debt as far as the eye can see in terms of the mortgage. I did a video on that today too, about the margins. And all that stuff says, look, I don't know. I'm not trying to be a nervous Nelly. I'm just sitting there thinking, all right, so I always try to say to myself, 5 years from now, given where we are today, 5 years from now, would I be happier of missing out on more gain or happier that I avoided a loss, if that makes sense, by being a little bit more conservative? And bonds are more conservative. The G fund is more conservative. Your stable value fund is more conservative. The Ginnie Mae fund at Vanguard is more conservative. Now, I am 50, all right? I'm putting money in on a regular basis. I don't have access to my biggest holding, which is my IRA. I don't. So basically, I have a 10-year holding on that, which to be honest, it kind of kills me. But that's what I got. All right. So I just can't touch that for 10 years. And I'm not contributing anything to it. So that guy is kind of, I'm just leaving it there. So what I put my money into, I'm putting my money into my M1 account and just letting that puppy grow, dollar cost averaging. I don't have enough in there where I'd feel comfortable taking gains off the table and locking it away into a fixed an annuity or into a G fund or a stable value fund or a Ginnie Mae. It's not big enough. I don't have enough money there. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And then 5 years from now, I'm going to hope there's the right move. Now, as long as I keep contributing, I should be okay. I should be able to weather a pretty significant storm. And you should too, if you can keep contributing. The issue comes, though, is if you're within that 3 years or so, well, within 5 years, you'll probably have stopped contributing and you'll probably start taking. And that just changes everything. And that's my concern. So my concern isn't for me so much because as long as I keep contributing, I'll be able to weather the storm. My concern would be for someone who's like 3 years out. And if we get hit with what I just talked about, that could be a deal breaker, man. You see what I'm saying? And it seems to me err on the side of caution. 3 years out, you'd say, man, you make more tea? Oh. You're not going to make some more? You weren't thinking about it? Okay. Here I did that. Guilt trip on my wife. I said, you're not going to make any more? She goes, probably not. I said, oh, you're not making more? She goes, nah, I don't feel like it. So you're not making more? All right, I will. You're the best. I'm hoping she comes in here and jumps on the TV. I'm hoping she comes and jumps in here. Let's see if I can convince her to come and join our live stream. Hold on a second. Because she's got to come get my cup. Hey, babe, would you get my cup when you're done? All right. She does not like being on the live stream. Here's my cup. No, but can you come? Oh, come on, man. Oh, weak. What's that? Oh. Oh, man. Oh, she didn't fall for it. Yeah, she's too smart for me. Do you see how she opened it? I was like, come on. She goes, are you still on? Yeah, she go get back on your video. Rat think. All right. So let's get back on what you guys were saying here. All right. So going back to Debbie, I think we talked about that. I'm like you, 10 to 15 years out. I don't have, obviously I want to have more in my retirement account. I don't. Well, my accounts, I don't. So I'm going to just keep plugging away. That's all you got to do, man. Like John Cena, the only chance we got is to learn Mandarin. I wish I had my wife's parents here because they both spoke Mandarin. But they're long gone. All right. I have a right capital. I have a lot of cash that's getting only 0.5% in right capital, but my cash is actually getting 1.5 to 3% is guaranteed between 1 and 3. So better shape than right capital. Yeah, right on. Not you guess. There's a guarantee you are, Joe. Good. Yeah, man. The wokesters are going to go crazy. No student loan forgiveness. What? Yeah. Biden ain't stupid, man. I mean, look, he's dumb. I mean, what I'm saying, Biden is not bright. We know that. I mean, we probably have the stupidest group of Biden and Kamala. Neither of these people are bright. However, Biden is good politically, and I know he's not all there. I think he's still there enough to know politics. He knows politics, and he just which way is it blowing? That's the way I'm going. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of like Clinton. I mean, these older Democrats are freaking shady as can be, but they're good at politicking. It's the new Democrats that are bad at politicking that you got to watch out for. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I'm not so worried about the state of the political affairs of the stupid Democrats, because I was talking, who was I talking to? I think my wife. Like, lots of studies now show conservatives are just better informed. We know this. And the reason is because we've been literally everything we do, media, sports, college, you name it, everything is coming at us from the left. And so we hear the left's arguments all the time. And if you're still conservative after hearing all their arguments, you haven't fallen for it, man, you are one sharp cookie. That's all there is to it. But the left doesn't know our arguments. And this is where I'm hopeful. The reason Christianity is on the wane in Europe is because Christianity was the only game in town. You see what I'm saying? So no one actually had to learn anything. I mean, like in Catholicism, you say the Our Father and do the Rosary. I mean, it's just rote stuff. That's not. I mean, what the hell is that? Just rote. I'm sure some people get some kind of talk with the Holy Spirit doing that. I never did. It's like, do the rosary. Like, okay, like you're speaking words, but you're not. There's nothing in there. And I was like, where'd that come from? It's crazy. Anyway, the point being, and I'm not here to bash Catholics. My goodness, I'm a Catholic. But what I'm saying is that that's the thing with Christianity. We're so dominant. We didn't have to do anything. We didn't have to learn to debate it, because you don't believe it. Okay, well, you're going to be shunned. Well, now our side's on the out looking in, which is good for Christians. I'm telling you, it's a much stronger faith for sure. I mean, my goodness, when you actually have to challenge yourself and wish to believe and literally be persecuted for it, you're either going to believe or you're not. But if you are, you're going to be a right standing person. That's for doggone sure. And it's going to be more, man. There's no getting around that. Christianity is going to be brutalized because, like I said about that gay cop in UK, and he's out for blood, man. He's out for blood. Not all gays are like that. There's not, but we know the woke left, be it gay or straight, they are out for blood. They have anger issues, and they want to take it out on you because they're not happy people. It's nothing to do with their freaking sexuality. It just has to do with the fact they're left. The leftist is what draws the hate. It's not the being gay or straight. So before YouTube bans you, it's got nothing to do with your sexual preference. It's got to do with you being a lefty. Anyway, so what happens here is because we've been able to learn the arguments of the left, is easy to defeat them. By and large, there's some good arguments on the left that are tougher, for sure. You know what I'm saying? But generally speaking, their arguments are very trite, infantile. They're easy to debate and beat them. And the left's like, oh, so you don't believe Michael Mann's hockey stick? He proved. You're like, okay. The fact we're talking Michael Mann is, I had some lady, Chanel, I think, or something like that, on my YouTube channel comments. She's a big lefty, or he, I think it's a she, Chanel or Chanel. Well, it's not just Michael Mann, it's other academics too. It's like, well, Michael Mann's hockey stick is what got this party started. And then we got the climate research unit out of East Anglia University, the Hide the Decline people with Phil Jones. Look, we can go through this over and over and over again. The insanity of the climate scientists and how freaking evil they are and fakers and liars they are. The problem is there is a group of cultists that are true believers. And when they hear things that challenge the cult, like the V or the mask, they get real nervous because they think you're trying to hurt them. It's literally that simple. It's crazy. You should watch the Paul Joseph Watson video he did on Definitely Not a Cult. Man, it is funny. With these weirdos, but I'm getting the vax. It's like, man, that is some weird stuff, man. I'm sorry. If they get I don't want to say anything more because I'll get banned off YouTube. Let's just put it this way. You don't have to pay people to do something if they're already scared of not doing it, if that makes sense. If they say, if I don't do this thing, I'm going to be like the Spanish flu and be dead in the street and turn black overnight. So I'm going to do that thing. If you have to pay somebody for that with donuts or free plane tickets on American Airlines or something like that, or $1 million lottery in Ohio, and that there's something that's gone off the rails here. It's actually interesting because I'm telling you, man, we're seeing more and more criticism. I did a video on this today too, of the Wuhan lab or the Wuhan flu origin. I'm telling you, man, it's like the sudden shift. It's like the CDC shifting on mass. Something happened up there in the higher ranks of the cabal. It says, okay, now shift. And now we're all going to make Fauci our fall guy. Yeah, get out of here, Fauci. You're a clown. But everyone loved me. No, they don't love you anymore. You're gone. Everyone's going to hate you now because you did the purpose of you are our puppet, Fauci. And he's too stupid to realize it. This is awesome. Anyway, so I don't know if you follow Anomaly in hip hop. Love that guy. But he did a video on something like this where he talks about the guy who came up with the testing PCR test, who couldn't stand Fauci. Sorry about the sniffles. The Chinese sniffles I got. But anyway, he did the PCR testing and said Fauci's an idiot. I wouldn't trust him. I like walk my dog or something like that. Anyway, that guy's dead. But that guy, he did not take part in. So Fauci went this way and that guy went that way. You know, an eccentric guy. But he said, I'm not taking part in this. I'll remove myself from that society. I'm still in the society in terms of the American society, but I'm not going to be part of their game. And I thought that's the way to do it, man. All right. Did I get the vax, Josh? Really none of your business, but I'll let you figure that one out. Let's just put it that way. You get a free donut if you get a vax card. That's freaking nuts, man. Same thing has happened with men, women, relation, marriage. Maybe feminism was a spy, a psyop too. Yep. I believe it's a subset of corporatism. Great way to reduce salary costs. I think that's I think there's something to that, Carl. 100%. Oh, Lou bakes his own donuts. Right on, man. Yeah, DeSantis. I'm a fan. I think we've got to learn it. It needs to start local, literally local in your own being first, then here, then here, then here, then ultimately, then the DeSantises and the Trumps of the world will follow suit. Trump was smart enough to see the hostility, the frustration of the basic American people. Trump saw that and he was able to take advantage of it. I truly don't believe Trump was a conservative. I think he became one when he seen how insane the left was, but he certainly wasn't a conservative, which is why a lot of the anti-Trumpsters were very hesitant on him. And I said, oh, no, I get that. But I think a lot thought he was going to be another Schwarzenegger. And I agree with that. It's kind of frightening. But at the end of the day, I mean, actions were louder than words, and Trump's actions were freaking spot on, without question. So to be anti-Trump because he thought it was going to be another Schwarzenegger after what he did just shows you're too proud. You can't say I made a mistake. And so DeSantis, so he's seeing the grumbling and he's smart enough to take advantage of it. The Liz Cheneys of the world, the Frank Luntz of the world. I mean, all those people, the Kevin McCarthy's stupid. You hear what he said about MGT, Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG? Oh, she should never compare wearing masks with the Holocaust. Like freaking McCarthy. It's rhetorical, man. Would you shut the H up? The Democrats never do that to their own. Don't do it to what is it with the Republicans needing to virtue signal that, oh my goodness, how dare you compare anything to the Holocaust? It's rhetorical, you freaking fool. The Democrats never do that, ever. Of all the crazy stuff Ilhan Omar has said, the Democrats have never said anything about her, man. I mean, give me a freaking break, dude. What is it with our side that has this need to, it's the weirdest thing. It's the Stockholm syndrome. And I'm like sitting there thinking, I don't know if you follow the conservative treehouse, but he's like, this guy needs to go. And I cannot have Kevin McCarthy as the freaking House Majority Leader when he takes over in 2022, which is probably going to happen, by the way. I just like, oh, for the love of all that is good. And their point being, he's so worried that we're going to fumble. There's going to be a fumble that's going to cause us to lose our majority by anything. So don't do anything risky. Don't do anything. Don't say anything. Don't propose anything. Let the Democrats eat themselves, and we will just sit here quiet and let them chop themselves to losing the majority. Hey, thanks, girl. There's Chloe. Hey, everybody. There's Chloe. Hey. There she is. Love you. Got the best family. Oof, thank you, good Lord. I don't know why I was chosen for these crazy kids. Anyway, so you gotta stand for. That's what. If you don't, you gotta stand for something, or you fall for anything. You gotta be your own man, not a puppet on a string. Never compromise what's right, and uphold your family's name. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. That's Aaron Tippin right there. And I'm sure YouTube's going to demonetize me because I sang it just like Aaron Tippin. Yeah, right there. United, that's what is given free flights, several in June for those vaxxed. That's probably it. This is one big government public utility now. The government's going to say, all right, United, we will pay you because you're going to limit your flying to people who are vaxxed. And the United says, we can't get by. The government's going to say, no, that's fine. We're going to pay you for everything. It's no different than hospitals with COVID, man. No different. It's going to be the same thing. The government says, this is fascism 101. It's crazy. The government's going to pay United Airlines to only fly vaxxed people. And United says, well, we're going to have a lot of empty seats. And the government say, we'll make it up somehow. You see what I'm saying? We'll make it up. So we'll give away free flights to vaxxed people. And we will pay the fee for that. I mean, it's so obvious. And so, okay. So I'm basically doing the bidding. This is fascism 101. This is it's the hospitals with COVID. They get so much more money for working with a COVID patient than just someone with a severe flu. They have every incentive to make everybody COVID, which is why we know those PCR tests are freaking crazy. We know that they're not reliable, but the hospitals say, we'll use it. What else we got? And by the way, we get paid. Oh, man. Yep, saw that too. Which is another reason don't go to college. I'm telling you, man, my girls is one thing. Don't tell my wife this. I don't want my boys to go to college. I'll tell you that right now. No way. No way. I do worry. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and his daughter was raised by Christians, raised right, and went off to college, and is far left now. And I'm kind of seeing that in some regard in my own household, and not far left, and I'm not sure if it's just challenging parents just for the sake of challenging or being woke to what the teachers say is bad, and not hearing an alternative point of view that allows to sink in. And that's concerning to me. And the problem with boys is it's anti-boy. You see what I'm saying? It's anti all boys, not just white boys. It's anti any boy. And as such, the worst thing that can happen to a boy is he comes back basically castrated. What is it when they chop the dogs? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he comes back and he has no testosterone because he has been told that it's bad. And now you got to essentially be a male feminist. You can't have that. There's going to be a reckoning of our lack of testosterone in this country. And I think we're going to win. I mean, and I was thinking about this the other day. The idea of no testosterone men and women running a country our size, it's not going to, it's dead. Men are the guarantors of peace and safety. And women aren't going to do it. They just can't. It's impossible. Men do it, women don't. That's just a fact. And women and men without testosterone levels high enough won't do it either. And as such, they will be destroyed first by men with higher testosterone levels, Russia, China, the whole thing. And in America, unlike Europe, Europe is dead. I mean, we all got to acknowledge Europe is dead. But in America, we're not. And I think there is going to become a men are waking up. I think enough are to say, no, we played your game well. It's not even the feminism so much. It's the demasculination of man, the toxic masculinity crap. It's not just a feminist. That's an easy one, but it's just the entirety of it all. Not just say I'm a male feminist. It's college professors who've never done anything, never worked, never shoveled. They just go straight from high school to college, and it's a guy who just get their I tell you, another thing is there's too much money sloshing around. That your dad is who was I reading about the other day? Big hedge fund guy. His dad was like I don't know, an oral surgeon in Bethesda, Maryland, or something like that. I said, yeah, perfect example. Here's a guy that had all the right connections, and as long as he stays on the right side of his lane, he'll be fine. And that means he's got to just capitulate to keep with the system as it is. And the system that as it is great for him. But his walls are going to crumble around him, because you cannot have a society that's run by demasculated, is that what's called? Men and women. You can't. It's going to be men with testosterone who lead and protect. That's all there is to it. And look, man, at the end of the day, we all know this. And as such, it's pretending that we're on par for, you got to look reality in the eye and say, the reality is there is going to come a reckoning, and the good guys will ultimately win, because they have to. There's no other way around it. If we don't, then we, like Harry says, we'll all be speaking Mandarin or Russian by men who have not lost all their testosterone. And I'm actually cautiously optimistic about that. I am. I think there's enough men, there's enough channels of people who see this, say, my boys aren't going that route. And so we're gonna have to have a come to Jesus moment with the better half to say, let's think twice about this, because those schools are not schools of education, of critical thinking and thought. It's not. Those schools are bad. They're bad places to go. It's gonna be crazy, man. All right. Yeah, right on. I saw that. It's gonna be an annual vax too. Yeah, you gotta get your boosters. Great for the big pharma. But remember, it's a free market for big pharma. Yeah, right there. Exactly. Pulverizer. Yep, exactly. I'm not getting another vaccine. Okay. Travis says, I've had one and that's it. I'm done. Yeah. Frank says, our country is Hey, was at a concert yesterday. Hardly any masks in Florida. All right. Well, who's playing there, James? That's cool. Good stuff. Yeah, well, that's I agree with Harry. I mean, you look at these airlines. Actually, I think it was Harry said Macy's. He said, why is Macy's up 300%? And well, the reason it's up 300% is because it was down, but it's still only at where it was in June of 2019. But there's no earnings there. I mean, there's no earnings in Macy's. Now they're forward projecting PE ratios 8. Yeah, okay. But their trailing 12 months have negative earnings. They cut their dividend. I mean, who's going into Macy's? We have a Macy's card. We go there on occasion, but is that a zombie company? If they cut their dividend to 0 and they have no earnings and their forward PE ratio is 8, where is that coming from? That they're able to all of a sudden sell a bunch of friggin' new clothes? I don't think so, man. That seems odd to me. So I don't know. I agree. Or they can sell their real estate at these dead malls. I mean, there's a couple guys on YouTube who do dead malls, which is pretty cool. Dead mall walkthroughs. I couldn't believe he went to one that Charlotte and I used to go to. I think it's Paradise Valley Mall in Paradise Valley. And in Phoenix, right outside Phoenix. And I think that's where we bought this ring right here, as a matter of fact. Or was it her ring? I can't remember. Maybe it was this ring. Jared. Was it Jared? I think so. Hey, Paradise Valley Mall. That place used to be booming. And the guy did a walkthrough just like maybe 2 years ago. I said, damn, that place is dead. Dead. Nuts. Hey, right on. Just got back from Michigan. Everyone's still in masks. Damn. Man, I don't get it. I don't get it. I heard that you can get black market vax. I challenge the idea we should even solidify the idea of a vax card, if that makes sense. We don't, it's kind of like, I don't accept the premise of a need of a vax card. I know what you're saying, Kim, and I thought about that too. I just fake one, but now I don't accept the premise that I need to have a vax card to prove anything. It's none of your friggin' business. Not you, Kim, but it's no one's business. No one's business. It's like saying, do you have a ID to prove you should belong in the United States, i.e. a social security card? It's no one's business. No one ever asked you to have a social security card. You have to have a driver's license, an ID that says you can vote, an ID that shows how old you are, but no one says, are you a social security number card holder? No one ever says that. And the ID doesn't say I've done anything other than pass a driving test. But that's it. And that's a driver's license. And if you didn't pass a driver's test, it just says you are a resident, legally, hopefully, of the U.S. And we're going to validate your residency, or at least who you are, with this government-issued ID card. Now, a lot of libertarians don't even like that. I get that. I get that. But how else do you validate voting? And I'm like, anyway. But it is what it is. We're here, and we don't want to add to that by even acknowledging the legitimacy of a vax card. Can you imagine going to the front shop of Costco? Here's my vax card. Yeah, that's nah. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out in a year. Look, let's just put this. I'm not getting it. I'll just be perfectly upfront. I don't care. There's no reason for me to get it. I'm not getting it. If I ultimately end up dying from the COVID, that's a risk I'll take. Just like every other risk I take. When I drive down the street, there's a risk I could die. I still drive. I'm just not worried about it. I'm not. If that bothers you, don't hug me. And I'm not doing this. I saw Meet Kevin the other day. He did some meeting with some people. I don't follow him that much, but I like Meet Kevin. I like his spunk. He was doing this instead of handshaking. I'm not doing that. So if you ever see me in person, give me a hug, because I'm not freaking doing this. I'm not doing that. I'll probably do that, but not because I'm worried about COVID. I'm just not. If it gets me, it gets me. And if it takes me out, it takes me out. Well, welcome to the world of life, man. It's just not likely, and I'm willing to take that risk. I'm certainly not willing to take the risk of putting crap in my arm. That's for damn sure. I'll tell you that right now, where I got to keep going back for more. I need more. Screw that, man. The C is my favorite TSP. That's all there is to it. Love the C. Well, yeah, Biden's there by name only, but at the end of the day, he's still there. Has anyone used Vanguard's portfolio services? I've not been that impressed. Just had a conversation with someone about this today, as a matter of fact. Well, maybe we did that earlier about their life strategy. Yeah, they love international stuff, James. They've been, seeing, I 100% in that regard, Quincy, CNS. I agree. They love international, but they've been loving international for a long time. Sorry, I got a yawn. Over the long run, international does little. I 100%, I tend to agree with that 100%. Absolutely. Can I take a look at SCHD and PY? Yeah, maybe another. I don't feel like doing it right now. I'm behind on comments. Yeah, Carl said he was not all that impressed with Vanguard's PIS as well. I completely with that. I 100% agree with Carl saying here. Schwab's intelligent portfolio, save the 30 basis points and just get more. You get two portfolios within one. And I did the video on it yesterday. I like it. You got the basic market cap indices, and you got their fundamental. I think that's great. if U.S. Taxes go up, stocks go down, and international will win. So basically, do we have any evidence of that? Because the taxes are way higher internationally than they are here. So for taxes to go up and make international win, that doesn't make sense because international taxes are significantly higher than they are here. Yes, right on. A copyright strike guy. Yep. Ah, sweet. Look at my man, Daniel Kuhlberg. Just found the 2021 DFA Matrix book. That's fantastic. I'm going to show with you. Well, I'm not sure if Dan's going to get mad at me or not, but I'm going to take the chance. Remember, always ask forgiveness, not permission. Dan's got one of these. Hold on a second. Right here. Spreadsheets. I don't know if he's got it available yet for you all to consume and buy from him, but man, this is awesome. I have this up there begging me to do videos on it. I got to. I don't know why I don't. Oh, I love this spreadsheet. I don't know if I can make that. That was like click here. What happens? Oops. Okay, sweet. There we go. All right, so you see if here's our, let's go 30004 is where I live. All right, Alpharetta, Georgia. Year of birth, 1955. I got $45,000 in Social Security. I got $60,000 in retirement income. I'm married. I got no pensions. My home value is $500,000. My taxable expenses are $60,000. All right, so let's check this out. And we're gonna go to we're gonna go down to, where do we go down to? Hold on just a second. Where is Georgia? Let's see Georgia down here. I'm missing it. Georgia right there. Okay, cool. State taxes, nothing, honey, nothing. Look at that. Dan's stuff is spot on. It's better than Right Capital. Notice federal taxes all the same. State taxes, nothing. Percent property tax about 1%. I paid. What was I gonna say? 10,000. What did I say my home was? 500,000. Yeah. Why you gotta be paying $10,000 on my home value? Wait. Yeah, we got 500,000. I got you. All right, so maybe tax property. Yeah, I don't get it. Why we got property? I'm confused. Anyway, state sales tax. That might be a ding there, Danny. That's fine. I mean, you got to adjust it. I don't get why we got 1% on 500,000. Why is it coming at 10,000? Should be 5,000, right? Yeah. Yeah, so here's Vermont is 10,000. Yeah, so this, Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. So he has it right except for Georgia. Yeah, it should be right there. So why is he, that's weird, man. Why is he at 10,000 for Georgia? So it's right except for right there. I don't want to do anything, but do we have anything? Am I missing something here? I got 500. Yeah, that's right. So it seems like it's not picking up for Georgia for some reason. All right, hold on a second. Yeah, wait, this is freaking awesome. There's so much stuff in here. My mind boggles. This right here is fantastic. Sales tax. So basically, what he sees here, taxable expense is $60,000, and he's saying, "Hey, man, you're going to end up paying sales tax rate if we go down to Georgia 7.75." So essentially, it costs you $4,650. I mean, obviously, you got factoring food won't be taxed and whatnot, but. Well, wait, why is it moving? Is Dan changed it? Oh, looks like I changed it. It looks like he was changing on the fly. Oops. I'm sure Dan's not happy with me showing you all this, but anyway, so he's working on it. It's good stuff. He's working on it right here. He's got, oh, look at that. That's kind of creepy. He's in there right now. Dan's like, I just changed it right on, man. Well, now that doesn't look right, dude. Now it's $25,000. All right, so We'll let Dan. Yeah, but look, he's good. I mean, there's always going to be kinks in the armor, and then you fix it. No big deal. I mean, hell, Right Capital has some. Schwab. I did a video today on Social Security taxes, whatever it was, and it didn't work for me there either, and that's crazy. Anyway, so it's all good, man. This right here is fantastic. This is the best spreadsheet there is, other than his bucket spreadsheet, just because it gives you everything, man. Just everything you could possibly have. So let's say I was born in 1970. Well, I guess he's in here. I don't know if I should mess around with it. So let's not mess around anymore. We'll get off that. Anyway, that's good stuff. So Dan, is that available for purchase? If let's see, that people could buy that from you yet? How do I get? Oops. How do I get Dan's thing off here, man? Breaking election says 30,000 fake ballots found in Georgia audit. They're not real. Jake, you think it's gonna matter? I sound like Michael Knowles, a very smart guy. How dare you call me very smart? You saying I'm an elitist? Yep. Yep. Low cost. Yeah, 100%. It's all about it's all about the cost, man. Yeah, China owns Biden 100%. All right. 20 years away, so I'm thankful every day. Dollar cost average monthly, right on. And you're in Oregon too, man. You get to live in Oregon, big man. Yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. I 100%. Quincy says 9 out of 10 long-term investors will lose to the S&P 500 or VTI just because they're paying too much of fees. It's just all there is to it. I buy OTC miners on Schwab. All right. Blue collar bullion baller. Wow, that's yeah, right. What happened? Whoa. Oh, right, with my wife. Yeah, right on. Love your channel. You're great. Prayers for Peter's daughter. Right on. Thank you, Patty. 100%. I just need better returns than ETFs. How are you going to do that? I mean, the only way to get better returns than the markets is to open your own business, man. I mean, it's literally that simple. Or take it. I mean, I see, this is the thing, Jeremy, is like, you're investing in other people's businesses, other people's dreams. Well, why don't you invest in your own dream? Now, I don't know what it is. I'm not saying just quit your job and say, I want to be a comic book author. But I mean, at the end of the day, these businesses are where it was started, from scratch at some point, and now you're investing in them. So you want to do better than these companies. The way to do it is to start your own business. I'm telling you, a lot of businesses fail. A lot of them succeed and make bank. A lot of them do just fine. They might not succeed and make bank, but they get by, they pay their bills, and they do what they want to do. Anyway, you can't beat the ETFs. I mean, we're assuming ETFs and index funds. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can if you take concentrated risk, but that's risk, which means you could get hammered too. I cannot stress this enough. Just look at growth stocks, large cap, I think small caps too, in 2001 and 2. 80% decline. Oof, that's you better be careful, man. I'm telling you, that's God has blessed us all. That's a nice thing, cute humor. God has blessed everybody by sending his son, Jesus Christ, to die on that cross. And Jesus didn't say, whoa, you live in America, you're blessed. Jesus said, whoa, you live in India and you don't have a pot to pee in, you're still blessed because I died for you. And I think we in America forget that. I think we do fall, and me too. Man, I've been blessed to have, a good-looking wife. Well, you've been blessed to have an ugly wife. I've been blessed to have, freaking my health. Well, you've been blessed not to have your health. We've all been blessed. It's just, we who have things are still focused. Look, I'm saying myself. I'm not blaming others. I'm saying on the right here. And God says, right, this ain't nothing. I laugh at your plans. I laugh at your wishes for silliness on earth. But it's tough not to get caught up in it. I'm telling you, man. It's tough because you're like, man, I tell you, I always think kind of like we take the best of the older generation and the best of the newer generation. Like, for instance, all right, we love the ICE, internal combustion engine, right? Now, the ICE allowed us to go out in the suburbs and sit in a freaking traffic for an hour a day each way. I mean, that's a fact. The ICE and highways and roads allowed that to happen. The ICE is still a good thing. The car, your ability to move around, but somehow we've made it where it serves a master that is no longer us anymore, and that's not good. So, can we use some of the benefits of today with today's technology, and maybe go back a little bit in time to do some living like we used to do, except with modern amenities and modern technology, if that makes sense? And you can. It's tough because it's scary. Like what, drink, I don't know. I mean, drink your own cow's milk that's not pasteurized. Yeah. I mean, yes. Not go to work every day and put on a monkey suit. Yeah. Just put your blue jeans on and go out there and raise some chickens. Go homeschool your kids. I mean, I'm not saying you gotta be a homesteader. I'm just saying at the end of the day, we have some modern stuff that's wonderful, but a lot of the modern stuff we use it for not wonderful results. And what's wrong with going back to, living on $50,000 a year, roughly, you know what I'm saying? And just eating a lot of your own produce. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, you use the best of what we have today and don't forget what worked in the past. Because a lot of what worked, what we're trying to make work now isn't working, man. It's just not. I'm sorry. It's just not. When you have these army people, you have people, we just know it's just not working. But that doesn't mean modern society is inherently bad. It just means we're using it for bad ways, if that makes sense. So what if you use the best of modern society and we're able to alleviate the worst of older society? I mean, my goodness, man. Yeah, we had a lot of stuff that, we have used penicillin, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we have antibiotics. Yeah, we have lots of different things that we can do now that would have been a hugely indoor plumbing, for heaven's sake, electricity. You know what I'm saying? So why can't we combine the two as opposed to saying, oh, we're doomed because modern society is doomed? So, well, why don't we take what is good out of modern society and combine it with what was good from past generations? I was talking to a couple today, and they're moving to a place in Idaho from California, small town, 4,000 people or so, but they got a local hospital there. They're not going to get open heart surgery there, but there's, a hospital. They can get their basic needs met by the local, doctors and whatnot. If they need anything more significant, they got to go down to Boise, if that makes sense. I said, man, 4,000 people, a community, like-minded people, they got everything. They got enough shopping centers, they got enough, community. They're not going to live off much money. They don't need much money. You know what I'm saying? They're not living on a big, fancy, schmancy, good time rock and roll house. They don't need a big, fancy, schmancy, good time rock and roll house. They're going to travel. The homeowner's insurance is going to be low because their house isn't worth much. Yeah, the point being is, what's wrong with that? That might not be for everybody, but what's wrong with that? Well, the answer is nothing. Maybe that's something we should kind of refocus on a little bit. Anyway, all right, so we're at the 2-hour mark here. Not even gonna read that, but OnlyFans for you, Carl. You go, man. You go. Only Bitcoin I have was what's given to me by Coinbase. What did Bitcoin end up doing today? It's fun shit. Look, I'm not anti-Bitcoin. I just, if you're making money off it, I don't know why you would not take your gains. It's weird to me, but all right, what did Bitcoin do today? I know it ran back up a little bit, so it's back to back at 38,000. All right, so Bitcoin, it went to 32, now back up to 38. All right, there you go. So I will never buy Bitcoin. I was listening to a guy today explain it, which was interesting. Not a Bitcoin, but the whole blockchain and crypto. What's his name? I forgot his name. And it was a good explanation. But he said, I forgot what he said. He said something, and I was wanting to type that, to quote it and say, this is why I'll never buy it. And he said it like it was a good thing. I said, I forgot what it was. I remember where the podcast was and where the minute was. I'll come back and find. I won't do it today, but I remember I said that's exactly why I'm not going to get involved. And I'm surprised, I'm not all that surprised, but I'm kind of surprised that other people can't see what is inherently obvious in that strategy. I'll forget what it was, but I'll find it. All right. Yeah, teach us how to remember. How did socialists light their houses before candles? With electricity. I'm shilling off. Right on, man. Yep, right on. She is Jill Apperson. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, Tina. Fauci's such a clown, man. He's the next Trotsky. I'm telling you, watch. I'm not saying he will get an ice pick in his neck in Mexico City. I'm just saying he will be erased from memory. Like no one ever believed him. He was always a clown. Yeah, I don't get the John Cena thing. That is like what? That was just I've never seen. I mean, look, I thought LeBron James groveled, but this was just. It was actually I'm embarrassed for that guy. And I don't follow wrestling and all that. I just don't care. But I was embarrassed for a man to grovel like he did. That was the weird. Is like a hostage video. I've never seen anything so just preposterous in my life. It was like, what happened, dude? Like literally, what happened? Yeah, strange, man. Yeah, Anomaly's fantastic. Big fan. How do you lean when your clients are debating work and learn, help plan for long-term care for society, retire early, but risk going broke if they need long-term care? Do I even need to answer that? What do you all think? Answer this question, my man, Boat6868. So his concern is, I imagine it's his wife. She's concerned, you got to keep working, Boatman, because we might need long-term care. Haven't you heard all the studies? Haven't you read all the, oh my goodness, haven't you heard all the panic versus deciding to retire early, but risk going broke because they need long-term care? All right, so what do you all say about that? Because that's a good question. I can see the argument going on between wife and hubby there. And I'm not saying it's all the wife. I'm just saying more often than not, it's the wife who's worried about the health stuff. And more often than not, it's the man who's worried about the financial stuff in terms of the investments. Yeah, right on. The creator PCR test says empathetically, it wasn't designed to catch coronaviruses. Yep. And the more repetitions, the more the error rate. Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's just. I was 45 in March 2009 and didn't have tons built up yet in retirement, but kept plowing away. Right on. 10 years later, I had 10. Well, I was 100% right. Yep. Me too, except for the last year, man. In fact, if Trump did not have that last year, he would have been above Reagan, which makes this lady mad at me. She's mad at me, man. No, not mad at me in a good way. She's not mad at me, but she did. Look, that last year pisses me off. I'm sorry. All that happened under Trump. And everyone says, well, it's federalism, all this and that. And I said, yeah, federalism. Yes. And thankfully, we allowed Georgia. I don't know why Brian Kemp doesn't get more cred on what he did in Georgia, because he was fundamentally awesome. Everybody else sucks. DeSantis was good. Noem was good. Everybody else can kiss my big fat behind unless I'm missing somebody. It seemed like there were mass mandates pretty much everywhere else where there should not have been. Seems like I'm missing one. Did Polis in Colorado, I know he's a Dem, did he have mask mandates? He seemed somewhat on point for a little bit, and I'm sure he went off the rails because he's a big lip, but he seemed like he was somewhat on point, Polis did. And the initial part of it. So DeSantis, Kristi Noem, and Kemp. Kemp didn't do enough to watch the voting insanity to see that what was coming down the pike. He let Puffy Burger handle that, and that will always be Kemp's demise. Kind of like Trump with Mike Pence relying on Fauci and Dr. Birx. That will always be Trump's demise. I'm sorry. The buck stops. Personnel is policy, man. And if you hire these clowns, you're going to get. And I know Kemp did not hire Puffenberger. Kemp should have been on that like white on rice to see the inherent problems that was obvious to everybody. It could open up freaking eyes. Noam, I don't know why she let the NCAA bully her. I don't get it. And so we're left with DeSantis, which is great. I love it. He ran Florida. I mean, Florida's a huge state. Remember, Florida is kind of used to be a pretty big swing state. Obama took it. You know what I'm saying? And Rick Scott, took out freaking Ben Nelson in the midterm election when everyone was saying Puerto Ricans were going to move into like crazy into Florida and vote en masse for the Dems. And then DeSantis comes along, and then Trump wins going away in 2020. It's like I watched my man, what's it, Richard Barris, is that his name? The People's Pundit. He's saying Ohio is a red state now, but just happens to have a blue senator, kind of like Maine, a blue state with a senator like Susan Collins. But it's an anomaly, but it's a red state. Florida is becoming a red state, which is interesting. But Georgia's coming more purple. It's not, man. I'm just telling you right now. If we did not, I can't stress this enough. If they did not do and this is where the Republicans are so friggin' stupid. How did they not see? I don't want to get into it. It's not a red state. It's not a purple state. It's a purple. It's a blue county. That's it. Fulton County, and then you got some other blue counties. That's it. But the reason they're able to get this to look purple and blue right now is because we know why. We know why. And it happened under Republican watch, which legitimized the whole thing over the whole country. It's so flippin' frustrating. It's like they say, we got a bipartisan legislation when one Republican had a friggin' 210 vote for it. It is bipartisan. One Republican did vote for it. But when Puffy Barger signed, sealed, and delivered, as did friggin' Kemp, our certification, that allowed everybody to say there is no fraud. Because look, even Georgia signed it; they got Republicans. It's infuriating, frustrating. Now, I know you can still get frustrated and get yell at the moon, and at some point say it is what it is. We move on and we say, hopefully, we can learn next time not to let this happen. Then the question is, will there be a next time, or will the the maroon that is Stacey Abrams, she's got a fiction book now that I saw being advertised, promoted on my Amazon. I was like, oh, she's not going to win. I'm just telling you right now, she's not going to win. And, because they didn't even change the voting laws that much, not nearly what I would have said, but, they've done enough to ensure that I think that we can't have the Stacey Abrams rolling a Republican who's so afraid to be called racist. It's like, anything I say can be called racist, so I won't say anything unless Stacey Abrams agrees with me because I'm scared to be called racist. I'm like, dude, where have you been? They've been calling us racist since the dawn of time. Would you stop? It doesn't work. And the way not to let it work is to don't let it work. Say whatever. I don't care. It's like, look, are you a pedo? No. All right, if someone calls you a pedo, do you like, oh my goodness, these are going to call me a pedo? You say, whatever, I don't care. It's kind of like, I don't care about women's soccer. I literally could care. I can't stand that stupid idiot that they got running that team, that idiot, but I literally don't care. If anything, I root against the U.S. because I can't stand those people. But if someone says, oh, I don't care, but let me tell you about all these things that you're doing wrong. Well, you inherently do care. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I don't care about women's soccer. I don't pay any attention to the sport. I don't care. If they lose, I'm probably happy because I can't stand the freaking wokesters there. But other than that, I just literally don't care. So freaking frustrating. All right, I guess we'll get ready to get out of here. Yeah, Ron, I don't know what it was, but much obliged, Tom. Yep, Kevin McCarthy. I was talking about Kevin McCarthy, not Kevin, Meet Kevin. I think Meet Kevin's probably not even a Republican, frankly, but all right. Biden wants, well, hell, if Biden wants it, I'm getting it tomorrow. Twice. I'll get it twice. Yeah, right here. My cousin, raised in a great family, went to Pitt. Now she's very progressive and all the BML rallies and Asian hate rallies. Yeah, man. Maryland's got a lottery. Yeah. Jake says he got testosterone to spare. Right. Well, we're gonna need some, man. I tell you. Lee University up here in Cleveland, Texas. Gonna take my kid up there to see that. Go scout out that school. My grandson is going to Christian University in Texas, East Texas Baptist. And don't forget Laterno University in Texas, a big engineering school. Laterno University, huge, like one of the top engineering schools, my understanding, in the U.S. It's Christian. Laterno University. No, I'm not a fan of MGTOW at all, man. Look, I don't like that MGTOW. I mean, look, people do whatever they got to do, but men going their own way. First time I saw some guy post that on, I thought he was like African. It sounded like an African name. So, oh, he must be from Africa because he called himself like MGTOW Mike or something like that. I said, yeah, don't be Mig, dude. Women are wonderful. Wonderful. I'm telling you. They're not, anyway. Trade school is awesome. My son is learning programming robotics for industrial companies. That's fantastic. Learning programming robotics for industrial companies. I can see my kids doing that too, Rebecca. That's fantastic. No way. Today in Pittsburgh, 100 men, doctors, hospital workers were kneeling for men guarding their own walls. MGTOW, exactly. And don't forget the one up in Virginia. I'm drawing a blank. What is called? Patrick Henry University. Yeah. All right, my friends, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate y'all being here. Yeah. Did he really lose? He was the first to really concede. I wish he would have fought harder, man. I wish he would have fought harder. That's for sure. We'll see, Jill. I know you keep saying it. I appreciate your motivation, and we'll see. Oh man. All right. Look, at the end of the day, a lot of people get up, and I'm not saying Philip is getting upset with me. Watch out talking politics on here. So I had a couple people say, don't you want more views? No, I mean, yeah, I want more views, but I want more views being who I am. I'm not going to be middle of the road freaking Joe Snuffy just so I can get more views that appeal to both sides. Because if you gotta take a stand someplace. You know, being political isn't going to get me banned. It's saying things about the V. It's saying things, about the. I should do like a Curtis Stone. He says this. That's what I'll do. This live stream will self-destruct because he says I'm going to just delete my live streams to make sure that I never get taken down off YouTube. That's probably not a bad idea. I don't think I say anything too much. I had one video taken down where I got a strike. That was where I said something about the. Let's see, the ladies who were you know what I'm saying, like this, and maybe the algorithm can't figure out what I'm trying to say, who are now the Rachel Levines of the world, if you know what I'm saying. I said, I said something about that, and I guess that really got the YouTube algos or people reported on me for not science, or I forget what I said. I said, really? Because I remember thinking, I was like, that's whatever. I can get out of here, my friends. I appreciate it, but I will never be. I'm always going to talk my right-wing politics, right-wing libertarian politics. But when it comes to the things you shall not touch, I get you, Phil. I get you. There are things you shall not touch, and we know who's in charge because if you criticize those groups of people, we know who they are. You will be banned, and yet I'm the oppressor because I'm a pale white guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm oppressing you by my very existence. You're being oppressed because here I am. Imagine living your life like that, like you are being oppressed by people you don't know. I mean, can you imagine going through your life saying, you're oppressing me? Like, how? Because of white privilege. How? Because I get stared at in the store. Okay, that's weird, but okay. If that's your version of oppression, you got it good, sister. You're oppressing me. How? Because you're a white man and I'm a white female, and I get it from because toxic masculinity. How? Because we couldn't vote until 1919. Okay, it's 2021, sister. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, you're still oppressing me. Makes me feel good about myself. You're oppressing me for being Christian. How? Because you're forcing your beliefs on me. Because I read this book? Yes, you're Bible thumping me. When's the last time anyone ever came up to you and said, read my book or else you'll be expelled from school? But when's the last time someone said, read my book, Robin DiAngelo, about all kinds of things or else you'll be expelled from school? Yeah, it's still oppressing me. Why? Because it makes me feel good about myself to say you're oppressing me. If I say you're oppressing me, I don't have to take responsibility for my own actions. Yeah. We're going to have a casual divorce here. You do your thing. Whatever you are, I'll do my thing. And I think my side will win because we're having children. And we're not saying to our children that they are evil for existing. We're saying we're all made in God's image. Do your own thing, but you have a responsibility as a man. And you got to take care of your brothers and sisters and your moms and your dads, but you got to look out for your moms and your wives and take care of them, protect them first and foremost. And at the end of the day, you respect your mom, you respect your wife. You see what I'm saying? As a young man, that's what you're trained to do. That's what you're supposed to do. And you go towards the fire because that's what men do. And women do. I get it. When it comes to their children, no one's going to go towards the fire when it comes to their children. I grant you. But at the end of the day, there is something called masculinity, and it's needed. And we all know this. And it's coming back. It's going to make the great return because you can't have a society that's safe when there's no testosterone and masculinity. It will be overridden. Look, man, there's no debate about this. And our society has enough still toxic masculine people that aren't going to go down just like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, Fauci, I offended you. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Stacey Abrams. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Because it's America, man. The Scots-Irish came here. They didn't come here freaking just to pussy willow and say, I'm so worried I'm going to offend you. And they're still freaking running rampant in West Virginia all over Appalachia. These guys aren't woke. The friggin' French Canadians up in Maine, they're not woke. There's tons of people running around here, man. The Germans, the friggin' blacks who are friggin' literally the descendants of slaves. You think they're sitting there saying, oh my goodness. Some, I grant you, of all these people. The majority aren't because they know. And as such, it will come back. It's going to take time. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be painful. I just say you remove yourself from these people, the people who are nuts, because, that could rub off on you. All right, we're going to get out. Last quote here. Anybody? Oh, thanks to you. Exactly. Same group preference. Thanks, James. Same group preference, man. Support the people who support your values 100%. I'm going to get out of there with that. James, as always, has a good quote to end. We'll see y'all. Thank you.